Alrighty, welcome back. And we're moving into like quad array lascannon space now. I went ahead, because you got to do this twice, so I just went ahead and put one together real quick just to see where all the issues you're going to probably have are going to come up. And it's not that complicated for like the most complicated piece. It's not that bad. There's a couple of places where you don't want to put some glue in, and that's about it. The big place is like what allows this to sit and rotate like that, and that's right here. It's interesting, like this thing fits in there, and there's a pin at the top and a pin at the bottom, and that's actually the piece that broke off in the box. If you remember way back at the beginning, that's where the piece finally comes in. It's like on step 24E. You actually glue the pin to the quad array, but then you don't glue the quad array into the arm, basically, so that it'd be able to rotate. And again, I mean, if you want to glue it, hey, glue it. But if you want it to be able to move around, it is going to make painting a little easier. And of course, this doesn't get glued onto the hull either. So there's that there, and this is a little confusing. So I'm like, how is that going to sit in there if there's no glue? Well, you don't glue like this part. You glue the square part. You don't glue the round part, so that it can still pivot around that cable. You don't glue the round part in, you glue the square part in. So don't glue this, but glue that. All right, kind of makes sense. But those are really the only tricky parts. These cables are kind of a little bit of a pain, but everything really comes out pretty nice. The barrels actually aren't that bad. There's a bit of like a bump there that I'm probably going to fiddle with. Oh, and the only other, there's this, or is it 22 or L22? I guess this is supposed to mean like very, very small piece. Well, it is. It's a very, very small piece, and it fits right in there. So yeah, having some tweezers is really nice. I actually got it in and like dropped it right about here, and then luckily it dropped the way it's supposed to, and I just kind of fidgeted it in, and everything's fine. So those are really your two places here. No glue. You don't glue the array into the arms, but you glue the pins to the array, and you'll see what I mean when you come to this part here. And then don't glue the round part. And I know, like, when we go to something did break. Yeah, see, these were really fiddly. I knew that was going to give me trouble because it's like on the inside. So yeah, there's the other fiddly part. I probably never even touched glue. And it's hard to know if it is or isn't. So I tried sticking the piece in there first and then attaching it to the side. Alright, so I'll hold it there. But yeah, so those are fiddly, those cables. But what I also noticed too is like they don't want you to glue this on so you can rotate it around. I don't know why you want to play around with it. I just wanted to put it together to see how it was fitting, and it's fitting really well. It's not glued yet, but it's just held on by trusty rubber bands here. And it does fit in real well. I think I'll probably put together the floorboard, which I think is kind of next, yeah. But I'm not gonna glue it on to this back, it tells you to glue it on here. I'm gonna wait to get the back and the front glued on, and then just drop that bottom plate in. I think that's gonna work a lot easier. I'll show you how to get your quad las gun going here in a minute. Alrighty, so we're back. First thing I also want to point out is don't worry. After you're done, you're going to have a couple of pieces left over. A smaller arm, two smaller arms, a pivot point for some reason, and a small cable here. Those are going to be left over. These look like maybe a single las gun instead of a quad. Oh yeah, and this piece too. You actually don't cut this piece out. I did by mistake, but that'll be left over. You'll cut these two pieces out. And that's that little itty bitty piece that goes in between I was telling you about, so watch out for that. And this first step is really the worst trouble I had, because you'll see here in a minute. So these pieces go together, not a problem, pretty easy to do. But then this, should probably wait and show you later, but okay. But then this is gonna glue in here, and all you get is like the surface here and here. But the problem is you're gonna scribe some of this down, because that, you got to get some of that off. Otherwise it's not really going to connect. It's just going to really touch right there and there. So you got to, you know, sand some of this down and get rid of some of that. But then in doing that, you start to deform the shape. And so when you go to put it in, it's like only touching here and here. So you've got to kind of pay attention, and you got to really look. And what I did is, after I got it to finally glue in there real well, oh, that was good. But anyway, I came back, and like this is going to be the outside, so that'll be the inside. And what I did is I came back and I just laid a little bit of glue like right here in the seam that it's going to make. So it does give it a little extra glue surface, and I think that really helped, because it fell off just kind of handling it, because there's just gonna not be all that much contact. I mean, yeah, I don't know how else they could have put that together, but boy, it's not the best. The good thing is you don't really see any of that. So even if you come in on the front and put a little extra glue on the front, it's not gonna matter. You're not gonna see the little extra bit of glue. But we'll find this piece, put it together, and show you. So these are the L16. There's the bigger armatures, not the short stubby ones. Make sure you get the right one. Just want to make sure these get cleaned out real well. You don't see this, but this is gonna like rub on the hull if you leave these like unglued. So you do want to get them cleaned up a little bit. And I just kind of use the scriber on just those pieces, and then my sanding stick fits in between the rivets pretty well. So it's pretty easy to get the mold lines out of there. Might need to do a little scribe there in between, or you can even, if there's a lot left, I'd clip it off with the snips again. And they're both identical, so you can't confuse one for the other. And they just slot in there like that, pretty easy. Pretty easy glue up. And let me see, do I want to, it's easier to glue? It really doesn't matter. But as I look in there, I can see, you know, there's some daylight coming through on that seam. So it's just gonna be trouble. Just have to, unfortunately, you gotta get a little extra glue in there. And you're gonna wanna hold it. Get that in there, and I'll see you later. All right, and while this piece was gluing, I went ahead and cut out the first of the Lascannon arrays, and these go together real well. I don't even scribe down, like when you sandwich things together like this, I don't ever scribe that down until it's glued together. I think you get a better experience, I'll just say. Scribing that down when it's sandwiched together, I think the glue melting the plastic, and then when you come back and scribe it, it just looks a lot better than if you scribe both pieces and then put them together. Just don't do that. It's just as much easier. And celebrate the fact that GW now doesn't split the barrels of their guns. So that used to be sandwiched together too, and that was always a disaster. So, but yeah, I saw these were round barrels, and couldn't be happier. All right, so that's been gluing. If you see that shininess there, I put a little bit extra glue on both sides actually, just to help it out. Okay, and these just glue in on top and bottom. Make sure they're slid all the way back, flush and back there. Pretty easy to mess that up. They're back and forth a little too much because those pins go right in, so you got to be careful. So we let that sit aside and keep working on. And they're 18.7 and 17.6 that go together. It's a little confusing, a little number bingo play in there. I think I'll get these going and let them dry real well, so that when I do scribe them, they'll scribe easy and they'll look real nice. Just be careful when you are putting the glue on these. If you get the glue on your fingers, make sure you wipe them off, because you get glue on your fingers, it gets on the model, and then bad things happen. So I want to make sure you don't get fingerprints on your fingerprints on your model. Yeah, flipped it. There we go. This is where clothespins come in very handy. So I'll let those glue up. Let this glue up. And what I'll do is probably cut out the little barrel tips and get those scribed down and glue them up after these dry off. So thanks for watching. See you in a little bit. Alrighty, welcome back. Got the Lascannon array gluing together here. Just put the little tips on. This guy's all finished here. Big trick is those tips. There's right ones and wrong ones. So you gotta just be careful, and they're a bit of a pain to pick up. But you just get a little bit of glue on one side. I had trouble getting it in on the other one without getting all over my fingers and just making a mess. So you put enough on one side, that should get you a good glue up. So we'll just let those sit, and then we'll go about trimming them. Like I said, it's really easy if you just wait for the glue to dry up. And turn them down goes pretty easy. So we'll let the tips dry up so we don't knock them off, and I'll show you how to clean them up pretty easy in just a minute. Alright, so I've let these guys dry up for a bit. And you can see they glue together real well. There's really not much of a seam. Oh, looks like that got chipped there. They did a real good job, much better. They said some of the older barrels had, you'd have to put the barrels together. The barrels are all one piece, so makes it a lot easier. You used to have this huge seam all the way down the Lascannon barrel. Now you just got to kind of notice, because it's round, it leaves some of a bit left behind, but it's so much easier, so much nicer to scribe down now. And I know, like, this scriber's got a, you know, it's got this rounded bit in there, and I've tried using that. I don't know, it just haven't, I guess, gotten used to it yet. I don't know. There's quite a bit left behind there. And like in this area here, where it does come together and form a seam, it's not that bad. You put a little extra glue on there, you can see it does come out pretty nice. And these back should look pretty good after you scribe it down. Putting a little extra bit of glue kind of melts a little more plastic, and that seam, if you would have done the scribing before you glued it together, you might have more noticeable of a seam. But you put just that little bit of extra there along the seams when you glued this together, and it'll really help getting a clean seam. And that just like disappears. You really can't see that. In this area you won't really see much, but trick though is that it's going to be sandwiched in between here. So you want to make sure that it's going to be able to move around. If you want it, if you're not going to glue it, you know, in place, having that little bit of ridge will make it a little hard to turn around if you need to turn it around for any reason. So just make sure you get in on that a little bit. There. Because it's round, I usually like to get a little bit of sanding stick action in there. And then like in between. And really on the tip, I just that little bit, and any seam there is gonna fade right away. There we go. That's looking better. Yeah, that looks good. I'll do the same here, and then the last bit is the pinning, which is like, I think this 5 and 19 maybe, and then 4 and 2021. 4 is that one I was telling you about. You glue the square piece but not the round piece, especially if you want to make it movable, because that square piece, I'll show you here, square piece like glues into the I don't know, what, the articulating arm, and the round piece, if you glued that in, it wouldn't be able to turn. So that's all. Those are the catches. So I'll be right back and we'll glue this baby together using the pins, and it's a little difficult. It's kind of a pain, but it's not too bad. You'll be able to do it. So I'll see you in a minute. Alright, so I thought it'd be fun try to do this number 22 here. It's almost the most useless piece I'm ever gonna put on a fig, but it's there. So see if we can't get it put on. Just a little bit of sanding down there. Wouldn't waste too much on it. And I got a pretty good little tweezer there, so that little triangle, there's a little triangle here, a little triangle in I don't know, whatever, indentation. See if we can't, I cannot lose the piece again. Not too bad. Ah, see, there it goes. There, got it. Hold it on to it for a little bit. Be so glad that that's on there for you to paint now. All right, so make sure you get this guy there going the right way. So we're doing, I already got the, at least like from the driver's standpoint, the left side. So this is the right side, and go on somehow like this and that way. So the like the shield is in the front, and that's also the way you're going to want your lascannons to point, obviously. I actually did this by hand, but whoa, the lid's not on. Might actually be a little easier to put it on while it's actually on the hull. So the top is 5, which is a little kind of like R2-D2 head. Snip that off. Should be real easy to scribe down. Very flat. And these are nice because you can't really put them in wrong, I don't think, because there's a notch. So the notch should go in a specific way and only one way. So if it doesn't go in, you know it's doing it the wrong way. So the head with like the little eye there is going to be facing forward. And just get a little dab of glue in there. And you got to be real careful. First one you do, you can pull it out and get a little dab of glue down in there. But because you don't want to have glue on this top piece, because it'll glue. If you want to be able to move it around, you will just glue it in. So kind of glue it, put it in there, and kind of keep working at it so it doesn't glue. Get the bottom piece in there. Number 13. Quick snip. Should be just a little bit in between the rivets for that particular. There, came off pretty good. Yeah. And that's the wrong piece. It's 19. Like I said, you're going to have pieces left over on this sprue. I don't know how important they are. I don't think they're all that important, because it's just for a different, I don't know, what do they call these things? Cupolas? cupola, something. I don't know. That might even be it. I don't know. But yeah, the one you want is the one with, there's 2 connections here at the bottom that you're going to put those wires in, and this one only has 1. So you want the one with 2, not the one with 1. And see, that's got a little stiff because of the glue. So I said you want to keep working that, because it will, if you got any extra bit of glue, it's going to glue itself down. Not that I'm too worried about it, but you might be. I want to make sure you know. So in those connection points are going to go to the back. Just like that. See, the connections are on the back there. It's just empty space. There's nothing there in the front. So I'll leave you with that. That is almost the end. We'll come back, and the wires should just take 2 minutes to put together. Alright, so I got the first one on. It's the easy one that goes on the bottom. Just put the glue on the square base, not on the round base that goes into the pin that we just put in. Otherwise it won't let you move the gun, whether or not you want it to. And then these 2 are kind of tricky. They plug into there and into the inside of the bottom las gun. And then the other one does the same for the other side. It's like a little receptacle, and then it plugs into there. So you want to make sure that those receptacles where it's going to go into are clear, and that you've got nothing extra. Kind of make sure you really got the mold that's left over, gotten that taken care of, and that you know which one you're putting in, because it only goes in one way. So I'm going to do the outside first here. This glue's starting to get old. So a little dab there, dab in there, on the outside, and then the one on the outside there. And then what I found, it's a little easier to stick it into the base. There we go. And then the side, and then just hold the side for a quick minute. Just repeat for what I'm calling the inside. Yeah, don't try gluing the wrong piece in there. Oh, this is difficult doing this left-handed. There we go. And that really is the fiddliest part so far on this Lascannon stuff. But this is this it? I think this is it. We got a 2 quad Lascannon, I don't know. Pronounce it however you want. It's a game, not real. These quad Lascannons, yeah. Oh, he's getting sticky. It's not moving very well, which I don't mind. But if you do, keep moving around. And if you don't, and you want them glued, you can just like throw a little bit of glue, probably drop it in here on the side here. Or really just do nothing and it'll probably glue itself together if you've got a little too much glue. So yeah, so those cannons are now ready to go on. And there you have it. Can you see the hole? Yeah, both of them. There we go. That's probably easier. Almost there. I said bottom is next, and then we've got, I think there's some things that we're going to do on the cupola. Is that what that is? This is what that is. I don't know what these are. Sponson, side sponsons, and a cupola is at the top. And we've also got a gun that is going to go in there pretty soon, I'm sure. And of course, like 3 days of cutting tracks out and getting the mold lines off of tracks. But oh yeah, like I said, this sprue is going to have some extra pieces. I don't know if you're going to be making like another one, and you know you want to keep the sprue. You're not going to need anything on the sprue, but I don't know, maybe some other tank you make is going to use this same L sprue, and you need this. But I've got a good feeling that none of these are going to be used. I'm going to probably put it in one of my empty bins here. Well, not empty, they're full bins of plastic parts. But yeah, you probably won't need them at all. And I think I'm going to just skip this and start working. This is going to take forever. It's going to take a while. And we got C's and E's all around, and everything we do, we get to do twice for the other side. And then we're all done, and I said there's like a whole bunch of confusion and things you can do on the cupola. Guns to put in the front, and I would excuse me, when we get to this part, I will probably do a quick read over of the rules. If this is going to be the assault, Spartan, Land Raider, not every single one of these options may work. Like, I don't know if you can have a commander with a gun. I don't know. And do you have, like, these look like heavy bolters, lascannons, and a immolator gun? I don't know if you have all those options for a specific, Spartan Land Raider. So probably whip out the rule book here pretty soon to make sure we don't do something stupid. But yeah, that'll be it. Probably work on this later and get you a new series on making tracks. Well, I appreciate watching, and give me a thumbs up or whatever. Do whatever YouTube thing you do, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.